Hi, friends. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Hello APGD, a neighborhood podcast about the Audubon Park Garden District in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Michael Lothrop, and today we'll be speaking with Gene Willard, third-generation owner-operator of Willard Appliance, with sales and repair services in Audubon Park community since 1979. Located at 310 Corinne Drive, you can find them online at willardappliance.com. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, or if you'd like to be a sponsor, please feel free to message me on Instagram at HelloAPGDPod. Thank you for listening. This episode is brought to you in part by Trevor Brown, Audubon Park resident and trusted Central Florida realtor with Fannie Hillman and Associates, proudly serving their clients for over 40 years. For listings, market trends, helpful home buyer and seller tips, email directly to Trevor at fanniehillman.com or find him on Instagram at Trevor Brown Realtor. And with me today is Gene Willard, third-generation business owner at Willard Appliance. Welcome, Gene.
Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. So I understand you've been here at the shop in Audubon Park since 1979, if I have my dates correct.
That is correct, yes.
So you have seen kind of the gamut of the changes. What are some of your earliest memories of Audubon Park back from that time?
The alley being dirt, not many other businesses around, the plaza, old-time RCA TV repair shop.
So was that part of Willard? I know the sign, the RCA sign is there, and I love that that's still there. It's such a relic. It's such an icon of that period.
We leave it there just for iconic reasons.
Yeah.
But the gentleman was there for 53 years, and it was not part of Willard Appliance. At one time, we were in the TV business as well, way back in the 60s.
Okay. Yeah, that's before my time, just a little bit.
Yes.
So, obviously, is third generation. Your grandfather was initially the one that was in the industry. How did he get started?
He told me that he looked around trying to figure out, he was kind of in the produce grocery store. He said he needed to get into something that would need repaired. All people would need the services. Mm-hmm. So that's how he started in the appliance business. They come out with appliances. He knew they had to be repaired, and that's how he started. And
still to this day, it's a very useful thing, especially being that Audubon Parks, one of the focuses of the neighborhood is historic preservation and reuse and not getting rid of stuff, basically being environmentally friendly. And one of the ways that we can do that is to, one, buy things that last, and two, if something can be fixed, to have it repaired rather than, leave it at the curb for a landfill. So it's very ideal that you're right here in this neighborhood. It's like, it's such a timeless thing, and it's still like a perfect fit for kind of what people's goals are and what the focus is here. And it's such a valuable skill set to have here and service to have here.
Yes, it is. And we recycle all the appliances. Either they go, if a gentleman picks it up, we don't get paid for it. He sorts them out, puts the metal through recycling. Some of the other products we refurbish for people that cannot afford new, and they're just as happy as that they can have an appliance that's reliable in work and not pay a new price.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. And you basically, it's all word of mouth customers, right? You really, you stay busy enough without doing a whole lot of advertising or branching out.
Correct. We have a large following of customers. For years, we're in the third generation with some of our customers.
Wow.
When we moved in, it was previously a pharmacy.
Yes, this space itself was a pharmacy.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it fell right into place for us, and the military, of course, the base over there was open. Mm-hmm. So we seen them come and go, and, with Baldwin Park moving in and that inflating everything,
Oh, yeah.
More population, more people, more need. Mm-hmm. Microwaves were just in their infantry.
Yeah.
At that time.
Right.
And that was a big deal.
Yeah.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. I remember microwaves. They're still around, right?
Right, right.
Now it's all about the air fryer. It's interesting how that it's changed a bit. When the Navy base was here, was it previously an Army base when your family opened up shop at that time?
Yes. And we actually worked on the base for them. And we fixed all the quarters where people stayed when they came in town there, all the colonels and stuff. And they would go to the main office. They would escort us to the units to repair stuff and escort us back. And so they knew us quite well. And we had a good relationship with them. They needed us and we needed them.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And what a convenient location too, right?
Oh, very much so.
Yeah. So you probably still, as you were saying, you still have customers from that time period. Are some of them customers from the base there as well?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. A lot of them that worked on that base are customers and still alive and still customers.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it seems like eons ago, and especially now looking at Baldwin Park, you wouldn't know that that was formerly a military base, right?
Oh, absolutely not. It's certainly glorified beauty-wise.
It is. It definitely is. I wonder what are some of the changes and the trends in the neighborhood that you're excited about currently, or things that are going on that you're into.
They're making use of what's here, like the parks. They're making them much nicer places to take the kids, ride their bikes everywhere. You got Lou Gardens that have programs, and every so many months there's a place here in the plaza that they put on like Mellow Market, plenty of vendors and stuff.
Yeah.
And just people kind of be free and enjoy life.
Yeah, it is. It's like a real quality of life focus in this neighborhood too, right? People care about who they're doing business with, and that experience, that creativity that's here. It's very vibrant, and it makes the neighborhood very unique. And a lot of people travel here, and they want to be part of it, right?
Oh, absolutely. And we're fortunate to have a 10-foot sidewalk. A lot of places only have 5 feet sidewalk, so people can safely walk side by side. And people can pass them. It's nice, just a leisure.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of space for outdoor seating, for cafes, B3, like the space that was formerly Bikes, Beans, and Bordeaux. There's plenty of room for that, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And people use it. They love to sit down and just watch other people and walk their dogs, their kids on a tricycle, bicycle, whatever.
Yeah, and you're right next to Kelly's Ice Cream, which is such a treat.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to resist and watch the wait at the same time.
I would imagine. Yeah. I mean, we live just a block from here, and I find myself frequenting those spots. Sugar Dough Bakehouse is amazing as well, if you haven't tried them.
Correct.
And I understand you are a property owner of multiple spaces in here. Over the years, was that just kind of relationships that you had with the shop owners or the building owners? And how did that come to be?
When we first moved into the first section of the building, we leased from a lady, Miss Swope, a very nice lady, and she loved the fact that we were family. We're coming in there, and we didn't give her any problems. We took care of stuff for her. And then we always said, hey, if you ever want to sell, we'd like first chance at it. And that day came and purchased that. And then when the other section came available, we purchased that as well, several years down the road. So that was nice, because her and her husband built the shopping plaza, and that was their income. And then she loved the fact that, the relationship I had with my grandfather, and it was a family business. And the business was formated the year I was born.
Wow. What a way to remember it too, right? That's excellent. So she and her husband owned this entire plaza, is that right? So they had built it?
They built it, yes. They owned it for many years, and then they sold sections and stuff like that as well, which was kind of nice. When they didn't need the income anymore, they turned it over to somebody else to continue with their generation of businesses like they did. And like I was saying, the business year originated when I was born, and my grandfather, many years later, passed away on my birthday. Which was really ironic.
That is. Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. And so Was Willard was always in Audubon Park since the origin, or did it have another location?
Started out at Church Street and Central Avenue, right off of Central and Church right there.
Okay. Right
And then
downtown.
downtown Orlando, and moved around the corner on Westmoreland for many years.
Huh.
And then the old 7-Eleven at Bumby and Robinson. We had a little store there. Then we opened up here, and we had the two. And then we moved, closed that down and stayed here, and then just expanded here.
So what year was that when you did move into Audubon Park?
I believe that was about 1979. I believe it was Como Pharmacy, if I remember right.
And you had mentioned there was a bullet hole that was still in the wall from when it was a pharmacy. Do you know the history of that?
I just know it's still there.
Uh-huh.
We never covered it up.
Yeah.
And apparently at one time somebody was either robbing the place or shot, a gun through the place to break the window.
What would you say your recollection of kind of the earliest memories of Audubon Park? What were your sort of first impressions? I know you had mentioned that the back alley used to be dirt. That's sort of a surprising one, but I guess also maybe not surprising because it's still rather unfinished back there, but it is paved. But what were some of the other things that stood out when you came to visit this area?
That it was old, and it had character, lots of trees. And there's always a lot of activity here due to the base and due to Lou Gardens and the school. The school was here for years and years and years. And
Yeah.
one of the other people that are in the plaza used to go to school there.
Yeah, that old Audubon Park school, right? It was in the elementary.
Correct. And his mom used to walk him there and then come back here and work in the office at the plaza here.
Yeah, that school sat dormant for a while. It got used kind of as a magnet school or like a temporary school for a little bit, and now it's this whole thing. The K through 8 center is pretty incredible what they've done with it.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, and I think like that has added to the vibrance of the community as well. There's a lot of young families now in Audubon Park, and it. I think that people are so interested in the history of just how the neighborhood started. And I had heard initially when the plans were made to build Audubon Park, the neighborhood, it was actually kind of controversial because the people in the area were worried about that growth and with the roads and different resources and things like that, which I was kind of surprised about.
Right. The impact, but there again, the school needed to be updated. The population in the area has just, grown tremendously with Baldwin and new subdivisions in Winter Park, like added on or take a house or two down and make 2-3 houses, and doing multiple units, like right off behind Fashion Square. They built all those big buildings right on the corner of Bennett Road and McGuire.
Yeah.
That's a lot of population right there.
It is.
Growth, yes.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see kind of what they do with Fashion Square. I'd imagine you remember going to that mall when it was alive and kicking, right?
Absolutely. And I remember way back when Colonial Plaza and Belk's was there. Jordan Marsh was there. And we did business with Jordan Marsh. We used to install their TVs and all that they sold.
Oh, that's cool.
Way back when we were in the TV business.
Yeah, so Colonial Plaza was different than what people see now, right? It was kind of more of a mall, but a smaller mall than Fashion Square, correct? Where it was kind of all connected.
Small neighborhood shopping area.
Yeah.
Where you had Belk's and Jordan Marsh and a diner. Big diner was in there for quite many years.
And as far as the plazas go, what are some of the other businesses that stand out that you remember that people might be surprised about? I know that there was a Krispy Kreme. I think it's now where the Lovely is.
Right. And where we're at right now, which is sort of our showroom, was a Maryland Fried Chicken in this building.
Yeah.
Right. And when we had to do the roof, we took the vent system down that they had. And we wondered what these pipes were in the floor for.
Yeah.
They're water pipes in the floor,
Uh-huh.
So big transition.
Yeah, I would say. And you would never know it to look at it now too, right?
Correct.
Yeah. That's fascinating.
There used to be the automotive place on the other side of us, and they had the underground where they went under the cars to work, change oils and stuff, and then it went to be a lawnmower bicycle shop. And then it went down the road to be a jewelry store, and then a snow cone, and now it's ice cream.
Wow.
So that was a big transition
Yeah.
from an automotive shop that you drove in the back area to a jewelry shop to a snow cone place to an ice cream shop.
Yes, I would say so. I had no idea about that. That's fascinating. If you're in the alley and you're looking at the back of that building, do you see any traces of that? I mean, they probably bricked it in because there's not like a bay door where cars would fit in.
Yeah, the doors were there for a long time, and then when they renovated the last time, they made it a full wall and took the door out.
Wow. That's so cool. Yeah, and these stories, I'd love to like get a map of the plaza and kind of get the history as far as what people can recall, what each of the things were. Because I think it kind of tells the story of the evolution of the neighborhood too, right? It's like there are different services that were needed, and I mean it's incredible just how well your business is still thriving after all of this time too, right? It's like, and it's not even adapting with the time so much. These are services that were needed then, and the foresight that your grandfather had to like, I need to figure out something that is going to be needed in the long term. And I mean, who would have imagined 60 years later that you're still here, right?
Right. And my dad was involved in the business also way back in the 60s and so on and so forth. And it just kind of carried through until, today we're still here and still thriving.
Yeah. What a legacy. I mean, that's such a rare story too, I think, right?
Oh, absolutely. There's a few businesses still around for 3 generations, but it's tough. It's hard to, get good help and get help, period, for that matter. But,
yeah,
we try to tailor to the customer's needs and a little more custom, a little more do what they need versus just being straight. This is all we do. We kind of go over the line a little bit, help them.
Yeah, and that's that extra touch that it takes too, right? You keep your customers as long as they're happy and they, you're providing the services that they're looking to get, and you're specialized because there are not many places that do what you do as well.
Right, and we're a GE franchise dealer and we're a Speed Queen franchise dealer, which are very hard franchises to get unless you're,
one of the bigger chains or something. Is that how it works?
Correct.
Yeah.
And to keep it, they are very very particular on who they give a franchise to.
Wow. Yeah. What a family to be part of, right?
Correct. Right. We're very fortunate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our customers are good to us.
Yeah. And so, speaking of B3, that is one of the properties that you do own. And I know it's still very up in the air of kind of what will be the future of that space. But I know everybody is watching and very curious to know kind of, because the food options are great in the neighborhood, but there's always room for more, right?
Well, I believe now what is going to happen, just got info today from the people.
Okay.
It's going to be food.
Excellent.
And I think it's going to be an enhancement to the area.
All right.
And we'll see.
Okay. I like that little teaser. I like how we had the truck sound effect right as you were saying that too. I think that's going to translate really well. It was very dramatic. Well, yeah, that's so that it's decided. I can imagine kind of the wheels will start turning, and we'll hear more about it soon enough. And we miss B3. They had such a great following, and they were lovely people. It's I mean, they're still in the neighborhood and we get to see them a lot.
Absolutely. Jen and Daryl were just fabulous people when they first came to me to open it up. I said, okay, you're going to start a restaurant. And they had told me that, they just got married and this was their dream and they had the family behind them and they had an advisor. And I said, well, that is fantastic.
Mm.
And they were here a long time.
Yeah, they were.
And I think in this couple that's going in
Mm-hmm.
is a young couple.
Yes.
And I think they have the same dream and they're going to be an enhancement to the area and the plaza. And we'll see.
Yeah, and it's continuing that story too, right? That's really cool.
Correct.
That, again,
and I'm for that versus the large corporation going in and pushing people out.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see individuals like our family did.
Yes.
And to grow and live their dreams and work their dreams.
It's really what makes this community so unique too, isn't it? Like you don't find that in an area that it's really kind of so well curated. Like people are attracted to it because of the independent spirit and that it's like, we're all small businesses here, right?
Correct. And, and we tell people the way it is, the truth. Whether it hurts or not, at least I know the truth. People to move away, they drive all the way back to buy an appliance or get advice or get parts
Mm-hmm.
because they cannot find that service anymore. Everybody wants to just throw away and get something new. It doesn't last as long as some of the old stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, it's they like somebody that actually takes an interest in helping them keep things going instead of just having to replace it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. It counts for appliances. It counts for everything in this neighborhood, right? It's like, yeah, rather than tear down and build anew, it's like such good bones here, right?
Absolutely. The building's been through all these hurricanes and tornadoes
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. And the insurance companies say this. I said, hey, no damage through all the hurricanes.
Yeah.
All the new buildings had damage. I know it's an old building, but it's been here.
It's built to last.
Right.
And I understand also the roof was constructed to be sturdy enough to have helicopters land on them.
What I was told originally when they had to get permission
Mm-hmm.
for them to build this plaza, that they would have the rights to commandeer the plaza for in case we went to war. So there is some special beams in the building that they could land a certain direction
Mm-hmm.
on the building top and that it would support them those days, but as a commanding unit, but not the helicopters today.
Okay.
But back then,
Yes. Uh-huh.
and they're red steel I-beams,
Mm-hmm.
so many feet apart, and of course you got your inner wood construction with that.
Right.
But that's what I was told.
Yeah, it adds to the stability and the sturdiness of it, right?
Correct. Yes.
It was way, way above building codes back then for that reason, which is such a fascinating reason, too, to think about.
Right. And our eaves out the front go 10 feet out
Uh-huh.
without any bottom, extra supports.
Yeah. That's a rare thing, too, right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so people have protection from the elements when it's raining. And, that's one of the things that when we do have hurricanes, the awnings are usually the only things to go because they are
Right.
built after the fact.
We usually take them down. This last one, didn't think it was going to be that bad, so some people left them up, and they got tore up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We lost one sign. That was when it was leaving. And wind came the other way, messed up the sign for Adam's Jewelry, but that could be redone. Didn't hurt the frame, just the inserts.
Yeah. All told, that's really not too bad, right?
Correct.
Those
Right.
were kind of scary storms too,
Absolutely.
especially with all of the water. And I think that we're at a good elevation here too, where we don't run into some of those problems that other areas do.
Yeah, we've never flooded out.
Yeah, and so you probably remember also when Corinne Drive was pretty pristine, right? When it was newer, at least.
Right. And also, when they developed Corrine Drive, they had to make it wide enough for the military vehicles. So they took away from the property so that the road could be wide enough to handle the military equipment. And I have the original blue paper blueprints of this plaza.
Oh, wow.
When it originated and started out in a crusty cardboard casing. It's really kind of neat to see that paper, the way they made those blueprints back then. It's the originals.
Yeah. It was like blue film in a way, right?
No,
Is it, no?
Bluer than blue paper.
Okay.
Thick. It rolled up, and then they put it in a cardboard cartridge like.
Yeah, I'd love to see that sometime. I can take some photos and post it to our Instagram.
Yes, it's pretty cool to look at. So I don't take it out very often because it is old.
Yeah, the history, I mean, it's relatively young community here, being, you know, in the 50s, like when things were built, and these were orange groves, from what I understand, that the Dr. Phillips family owned before it all kind of changed over to a neighborhood. But yeah, I mean, what a difference like 70 years makes, right?
Oh, absolutely. And if you told somebody many years ago this would happen, they would say the psychiatrist is down the street, you know?
Right. And it's, yeah, I feel like it's gone a pretty good direction too. And I just wanted to say thank you from myself and from the community that you have kept that history intact, and that kind of curating some of the businesses that are here too. Like you're very thoughtful with whom you invite as applicants that fits the neighborhood, right? That fits kind of what people in the neighborhood are interested in. You want it to be a viable small business, and you know the customer base here, right?
Right. Enhance the neighborhood and the businesses, and not something that's confrontational.
Yeah.
Or
trend,
inappropriate.
Just a trend even too, right?
Right,
If it's just like a passing thing.
Correct.
Sure.
And so it's helpful to the community, the services they provide. You know, you don't have to go as far. You come up here, you can get everything done, from haircuts to food to ice cream to your laundry,
Yeah.
to your chiropractor, you know, to your jewelry. I mean, to your exercises. I mean, there's not many places you can go in one strip and get all that.
And you've got a thriving record store there too, in the same way that it's just like they're still doing it, right?
Right.
Yeah, and that's a testament as well to kind of how well run things are here too. That I'm just amazed with how well Park Ave CDs does, and they know their customers, and they serve their customers really well, and that's how they've stayed in business.
Absolutely. And Al's Attic, that's here in the plaza, they have a lot of the stuff that you had when you were a kid, you grew up, your parents had, that they gave you, and they have all these old items that were just like relics to us today, that were just commentary stuff back then. And so they're really a treasure hunter that puts it out, and it's really enjoyable to walk through their store there.
Yeah,
it brings memory.
It's like a museum, right?
Yes,
that's so cool, and stuff that you can buy and take home and have in your own space and remember.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't have to own. All I have to do is go through their store and walk around and look. I don't have to have it at home anymore.
Isn't that nice?
It's displayed. I don't have to go find it in a box or a closet.
I'm always so amazed with how well they organize everything too, right? It's like
absolutely
Owl's Attic and the Lovely and Dear Prudence and Primrose. Like, just there's such a good selection of gifts, and it's all just in its right place.
Right. And Dr. Weaver and Dr. Albers, they go way back in this plaza before us. And they're just such a fabulous community doctor. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to talk to them on the podcast too, if they would be interested in doing that. That would be cool to see that history.
They have some history.
Yeah.
Because because of the school.
Right.
And But I'll let them tell that story.
Yes. Okay. I look forward to that. Are there any other stories that you'd like to share? Anything that we haven't covered?
I think that pretty much covers most of it.
Yeah.
We just, we enjoy being here. We enjoy helping people, and give back to the community. Being so lucky myself to be here and to, make a life for myself and my family.
Mm-hmm.
I have a wife and a daughter, and I have a brother. He helps out sometimes.
Nice. Keeping it a family business, right?
Correct. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So do you have any plans as far as kind of the future of the business? Do you think your daughter is going to take this on in the future?
I don't believe so. I think that her tastes are in the hair industry,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
which she went to school for and is working up to that.
Yeah.
As well as my wife is a hairdresser. My brother, he's very involved with appliances as well. He kind of has his own little handyman business, but he also, when I need extra help, he's very helpful and giving me a hand here and there. Because today it's tough to get qualified employees that knows appliances.
Yeah. And that level of service too, right? That
Correct. Keep the quality of service up as well.
Yeah. And you can trust family. That's good.
Correct. Yes, I have a very, very good family. There were 6 of us, 3 girls and 3 boys.
Wow. That's a big family.
My parents had their hands full.
Yes, indeed.
They raised us independent because they had to.
Right. And on top of the big family, like owning a small business, right? And keeping that running.
Correct.
Wow. Yeah. What an inspiration to grow up in that arena too. Yeah.
Absolutely. There's lots of stories there.
Yeah.
From when I was short, some of the places that we serviced department stores that, they see this refrigerator going down the aisle and the manager's going, "What in the world is that?" And he goes around and sees me pushing a refrigerator down the aisle and says something to somebody, and they told me to put the refrigerator down, and they asked the manager to go ahead and break it over and roll it, and he couldn't do it. And they say, "Okay, go ahead, Junior, grab it and go." I'd break it over and go with it. The guy just kept his mouth quiet and walked away. So
How old were you, roughly?
I was probably about 13.
Wow. Yeah, I can imagine that would be quite a sight. But if you're handling if you've got a dolly or hand truck and you know what you're doing, that's what counts.
It's how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no technique behind it. Sometimes it's not how strong you are, or sometimes it's you do things a certain way, and that makes it work versus just trying to pick it up and hurt your back.
Right.
We're taught all that.
That's such a cool way to grow up too, because you basically had this skill set that was passed on to you, right? You just trained just by being with family, essentially.
Oh yeah, I worked around it since I was 6 years old.
Wow.
So took a couple of things here the way along. My parents wanted me to get a feel of other type of jobs, so I worked a few other places and other things, and then I decided that this was my niche, and it helped a lot of people, which I like to do.
Yeah. What other types of jobs did you do back at that time?
I worked for Disney for a short time,
Oh, wow.
and I worked for a mobile oil gas station, and I worked for Wendy's for a short amount of time, and then I decided the appliances was my take on life.
It gives you an appreciation too for different parts of the service industry too, right? Having those jobs.
Correct, and my parents wanted me to respect, other businesses, and also, do good for the community and the people, and make it to where they can trust you when you do stuff for them and you get paid, that you're giving them their money's worth, and which is hard today to do that because things are so expensive and the prices change so quick. You just paid this for that, and it went up 20-30%.
Right.
But we try. Customers are very grateful that we're here, and We help out with cardboard for the school events and all this to do all their stuff. And the people on the lake that do their boats, made out of material with cardboard. And it's kind of cool. So, they know where to come get cardboard. We just had the school call today, need a cardboard box, refrigerator box.
I love that. That is so cool.
So kind of a little recycling.
Yeah. And those relationships, too, are things that you would only get in a community like this. That's not going to happen at box stores at all, right?
No, if you ask them for a box, they'll look at you and say, no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that violates some policy or something, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So we save some up. So when that happens, somebody forgets at the last minute and they call us, and we'll even box something and give them the box. But we usually have a few things hidden back, and our store is pretty crowded, but
yeah,
we've been here a long time and we're kind of busting into the seams.
You make great use of the space, though. You can tell it's a very busy working shop, right?
Oh, right.
And you've got some relics here too. I see some older appliances that you don't see around.
Right. I have a 1932 globe top refrigerator.
Wow.
Which is square. It looks like a basketball on top. It was called a globe top by GE. Mm-hmm. It's got the handle, it's got the feet, it's got the thermometer in it still, and I plug it in once in a while, let it run.
Yeah.
It cools fine.
Wow.
And on the old stove, a couple of other pieces here and there. A customer brings me a copper tone stove, wall oven, that's from the 50s.
Yeah.
And so, we have a few little things sitting around that reminds us the way it was.
Right. And things that were built with quality in mind too, right? The fact that they still run after all this time too is amazing.
Absolutely.
And it shows you that it can be done,
That is correct.
It's good. It's a good reminder, I feel like. It just I think we can get a little cynical with how things are made sometimes these days to be very disposable and built-in obsolescence, and especially with our phones, with our smartphones, and the fact that we can't hang on to them for the life of them. It's like it doesn't need to be that way.
Right. And I actually just the other day came across my first phone, which is a brick phone.
Uh-huh.
And I remember being in the truck somewhere, and I was talking to GE Corporate,
Uh-huh.
and she says, "Are you in a playground?" And I said, "No. The playground for the school was over 1,000, 2,000 feet away, and she could hear me through that brick phone."
Wow.
Today, I have art. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
And move locations. Can you hear me? So there's a lot to be said about the old technology and the new technology.
There is. Yeah. It's funny how our phones are kind of their worst function is being a phone itself, I've found.
Right.
They're great at all these other things. They take awesome photos, and they're very handy supercomputers. But when it comes to having a conversation on the phone, it doesn't really work that well.
The clarity.
Yeah.
That phone was great. It just got outdated.
Yeah.
But I still have it. It still exists.
Yeah. Probably would still work if you were able to connect it to a network too, right?
Right. Have all the accessories still to it.
That's cool. Yeah, I think that there's a lot of value to hanging on to those things that bring back those memories too. It's like memory is so important, and I think history is so important. It teaches us so much, and just learning from people who have seen a lot of changes and have that information and have those experiences that we wonder about. It's hard to relate to homes not having air conditioning.
Right, because we were big into air conditioning. We did wall and window units throughout Orlando, all over the place, big time, a lot of them. I used to install TV antennas called the Orlando Special, 2, 6, and 9. And I put a lot of those up because we did TV stereos back then. And I put up a lot of antennas in Orlando.
Wow.
It is amazing what we went through then. And now it all's all airwaves.
Yeah.
Through the new technology.
Yeah, the access to information then. I was just talking to somebody earlier who really doesn't remember pre-internet age, and all of the young adults now and future generations will always remember the internet as long as it doesn't go away for some reason. which is wild. Like my generation is kind of one of the last ones that will be around, like way in the future, that will remember the before times, the pre-internet age.
Right, and I think one of the starts of that was beepers or pagers. That was big.
Yes, I had one actually in college, maybe high school.
Absolutely. I had one all the time because when the boss beeped me, I had to go find a phone.
Right.
A payphone, that is.
Yeah, and that was the beginning of that always being available, right? Always being reachable.
Correct. 'Cause they know you got the message, so you got to give them a call.
Yeah, it's the beginning of us being tethered, and
Exactly.
yeah, we were never offline ever since that.
Absolutely.
Weird. Well, Gene, thank you so much for your time. This has really been a pleasure. And again, thank you for everything that you've done for the neighborhood. Your website, willardappliances.com, is it?
Basically, yes.
Okay. If you Google Willard Appliances, you will find it. It's just that easy.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. We'll see you around.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello, APGD. A neighborhood podcast is brought to you in part by Stardust Video and Coffee, Audubon Park's beloved neighborhood cafe, bakery, bar, and meeting place, located at 1842 East Winter Park Road. We're also sponsored by Red Light Brew Pub. Founded in 2005, Red Light is widely known as the source for world-class imports and microbrews. A wide selection of natural wines, plus award-winning beers brewed in-house. A full kitchen is in the works with an amazing menu by Chef Jess Tantalo. Located at 2810 Corinne Drive, please check out Red Light for all things beer and wine and soon food. Our theme song is by Christopher Pierce, and special thanks to Trey Hester for all of his help in making this podcast a reality. We do hope you enjoyed this episode. If so, please click subscribe and leave a review if you'd like. We'll see you next time.